These are your directions for how to complete your vocabulary triangle with secondary directions on how to use Freeform. So the first thing I want you to know before we get started on anything, when it's time to record your Freeform presentation, you're going to screen record just like you would on your phone if you were doing something. When you do this, make sure you hold the button down and that your microphone is on so you don't frustrate yourself by recording and then realizing your voice isn't there. So your screen record button is this red blinking button right here. So your task, you're going to be given a triangle broken into 15 levels. You will assign one vocabulary term from the list to each level. The number of the level that you assign the vocabulary term is how many words you get to define the term. So the word you put on level 3, you can only use 3 or less words to define it. So the example that my students came up with, they just gave me random words, and they said site, situation, absolute location, relative location, functional region, perceptual region, and tertiary. So I felt like my most complicated definition was absolute location, and I only have 7 words to define it. So I said specific spot on Earth, latitude, and longitude. Now notice my and then when you move up, in, and to, all of those little words count in your definition. So you have to make sure that your definition is going to make sense within your limited number of terms. Your 15 words that you're going to work on are primary economic sector, secondary economic sector, tertiary economic sector, quaternary economic sector, quinary economic sector, apartheid, genocide, colonization, mercantilism, imperialism, neocolonialism, microfinance, epidemic, and pandemic. So what you're going to want to do first is you're going to take your triangle, and I probably wouldn't write in ink right off the bat. I would make sure that I played with the words, got the definitions before I actually finalized my triangle. You're going to figure out which word goes on what layer. You're going to define them. And then once you have your triangle, we're going to go to Freeform. I'm going to finish going through the directions, and then I'm going to take you to the Freeform app and show you how to work it. So you're going to go to Freeform, and you're going to start by pressing the star. You're going to take a picture of your triangle. What I found was helpful for me is I went in and I took pictures of all of my vocab terms that represent my vocab terms before I even opened Freeform. That way I have everything in my camera roll that I need before I get started on the project. So each word, your triangle is going to be your starting scene, and each word after that's going to be its own scene. For each scene, you need to provide the definition in your words and a picture that helps you remember the vocabulary term. Once you have everything set up in Freeform, you're going to use the screen record, and again, make sure your microphone is on, to record a video of you explaining each term's definition and how the picture you chose represents the vocabulary term. After your recording is done, you're going to upload your recording to Canvas to be graded. So now I'm going to take you over to Freeform. And Freeform is this little app right here with the squigglies. I think on your iPad with the update, it might look a little different if you changed your icons. So this is Freeform. You can play around in it. You can use the help. You can Google how to use it. I will show you right now. I did that. I needed a little bit help on how to navigate and present scenes in your Freeform. So I literally just searched Freeform user guide, and I got this. So it shows me how to save scenes. It shows me how to navigate scenes, how to edit scenes, how to print or export if I needed to, which I'm not going to. But my main goal in this was to help me save and navigate the scenes. So now that I have Freeform open, I don't have any boards open, and I need to open a board. So I'm going to press the paper and pencil, and it brings me a board. This particular board, I kept the grid on. You can press the grid button down in the bottom right-hand corner and get rid of the grid, or you can keep it on. I'm going to keep it on just to help me line things up. If I decide to write, it makes me feel a little bit more comfortable. It's like having lined paper. So the first thing I need to do is I need to start my first scene. So I'm going to press the little star at the bottom, and I'm going to say add scene. And it doesn't have anything yet. So I'm going to press add. And that was a mistake because I think I just created a blank. Yes, I did. I created a screenshot of this picture, or just of a blank screen. So I'm going to go in and I press the 3 dots and I'm going to delete that. So what I am going to do is I'm going to hit the paper clip, and you can take a photo, but like I said, I chose to go ahead and take my photos so that I didn't have to worry about it. And I'm going to choose a photo or a video. Now, you're not going to record yourself through this process. You're going to record when everything is done. But I'm going to choose a photo. Whoops, there we go. And I'm going to choose my triangle. So I chose my triangle, click the check mark, and there it is. Well, that's way too small for my teacher to see, so I'm going to make it a little bit bigger because I don't want my teacher to struggle. Because when my teacher struggles to read, it's harder for her to grade or him to grade. So I'm going to start with my main scene. Here's my triangle. I've got my base words on. And I'm going to star it because that's my first one. And I'm going to add my scene, right? And then I'm going to go back here. And I could print, I could export if I needed to. But right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here. And I'm going to create my second scene. So this one, I'm going to start with my bottom vocab term, which was absolute. Sorry. I'm going to start with absolute location. Now, there are a couple of ways you can do this. I have an Apple Pencil, so I'm able to write. You can write with your finger, or you can also close that out and click on the little sticky note next to the paper clip, and I can put it on here if I wanted to. So I can say absolute location, and then I could continue typing the definition if I wanted to. But in this particular case, I want to continue writing it. So I want to get rid of my sticky note, so I'm holding it down. Well, I'm turning off my pencil first. I'm holding it down, and then I'm going to press the trash can to delete it. I'm going to go back to my pencil so I'll be able to write. Absolute location is the specific spot on Earth. Now, this time, because I'm explaining myself, I'm using a little bit more, but I also did the triangle like I was supposed to. So if I want to just stick with my triangle, I'm going to use my eraser, and I'm going to get rid of what I had. And then I'm going to go back to my pencil, and I'm going to say specific spot on Earth, latitude and longitude. And then I'm going to add my picture that I chose for this, which was a picture of a map. And I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. Now, the map shows latitude and longitude, but if I were explaining this in my actual presentation, I'm going to need a little bit more because I don't actually have an absolute location marked. So I'm going to mark my pencil, and I'm going to choose right here just because it's nice and easy. I'm going to draw a circle, and I'm going to go on to explain in my presentation that this absolute location is 30 degrees north and 30 degrees west. And that makes it a very specific spot on Earth because you can only have 130 degree north, 130 degree west. And that will have taken care of this scene. And I have to keep remembering not to just randomly touch things. So now that I've done that, I'm going to click here and I'm going to add a scene. So now I can move to another spot on my board. And my next one, I believe it was not a functional region. It might have been a functional region. I'm going to do functional region because I don't really remember what it was. But you know what? I'll be good. And I'll go back and actually look. Oh, sorry. My next one is situation. So I'm going to choose my photo. And this was the picture I chose for situation. I'm going to enlarge my picture so my teacher can see it. And then I'm going to write situation. And my definition of a situation was place in relation to other places. And then I'm going to go on to explain my picture that it shows that this city, its situation was, you can see that it's surrounded by mountains, but it has access along the river. It's got tropical forest, it's got moderate elevation, and a tropical wet climate. It tells me where it is in relation to other things. It's like the adjectives. And then I'm going to press my little buttons down here, and I'm going to add my scene. And I would continue this all the way through. Then I'm going to go back to the beginning. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to go back and read the directions again. So I've saved my scenes. So to navigate scenes, it says go to the Freeform, open your board, click the star, then do any of the following. It says click the scenes you want to go to, and then the arrows to move between scenes. So what you and others see may depend on what device is being used to view the board. For iPhone or iPad, portrait or landscape mode may affect how the scene is framed in the view. Like, okay, so now I know what I'm doing. I'm going to go back to my star, and I'm going to go back to scene 1. And now that I have my entire board set up, this is where I'm going to click on record. I'm going to make sure my microphone is on so that I can record this, hopefully in one shot, to turn in on Canvas. If it takes you more than one attempt, that's okay. Just make sure you delete your old attempts of recording so you don't take up all your space. So I would start right now, and I would say, this is my vocabulary triangle. On the bottom rung with 7 words, I have absolute location, which means specific spot on Earth, latitude and longitude. And then I chose situation, then functional region, perceptual region, site, relative location, and tertiary. And I'm going to go here, and I'm going to say, go to scene 2. In my next scene, my first term was absolute location. This means a specific spot on Earth using latitude and longitude. In my picture, you can see that I marked 30 degrees north and 30 degrees west. That is an absolute location because you can only have one 30 degree north, 30 degree west. I'm going to go to my scenes. I'm going to click on scene 3, and it's going to take me to my next one. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to talk about situation is place in relation to other places. And I'm going to go through and I'm going to do my explanation of each of these things. And this is all while I'm recording. And if I had more scenes, I would keep going through until I've done all 15 scenes and explained it. Once I've done that, So once you've gone through and you've explained all 15 of your vocab terms and the words, and you saw that I spliced in a little slide in there, if you want to draw the pictures, you can. Please don't spend all of your time just drawing the pictures, my artistic people. Make sure that we get the information in there and get everything done. So once you're done recording, and here's the thing, I'm not going to lie, you saw me, I made mistakes, I went back, I fixed it. I had to splice this video together in iMovie because I messed up. So I have like 3 different versions of the video or 3 different pieces that I put together in iMovie. So once I'm done with the video, I'm going to take it from my camera roll, and I'm either going to put it into Google Drive and upload into my Canvas assignment from there, or I'm going to upload into Canvas directly from my camera roll. So you have a couple of options. Please make sure that you get this done. If you are having issues, you are struggling with Freeform, Google the directions just like I did. I've never used Freeform before today. Also, just thinking about this, for those of you who don't have a good note-taking app, this might be a way for you guys to take notes. If you screenshot your PowerPoints, you could always upload all of those pictures in advance, and then you could handwrite notes next to it, and you could just keep moving around the board. That way you have your own handwritten notes with the PowerPoint. So I feel like there are multiple ways you can use the Freeform app that would be very beneficial to you. And I'm going to stop recording now.